We're on.
We're on.
We're on.
We did it.
We're on.
We did it. We're here.
We're playing the feud.
And we were not totally spending all the time trying to figure out how to go live.
No.
We know all the technology. All the time.
We know how technological works.
Mm-hmm.
We just had a great first hour of the session, but we realized it was so good that y'all didn't deserve it, so we restarted.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
wait, are we?
Sorry about it.
Are we
Be
on
better.
YouTube now already?
No, we're still on Twitch for now.
Oh,
This is the last day on Twitch. For now.
Oh, okay. So, hey, announcements, everybody. We're going to YouTube.
yeah.
And I just realized I don't have my Ghost.
Much like all your other faves. We're going to
It
move over to
should
YouTube.
connect from the phone.
It's where the cool
phone
kids
password.
are.
Sorry.
Bless you.
I was trying to pull my shirt up.
All right, restart.
Sorry. I
No
just
sneezing on
sneezed into
screen?
my fist. I'm
Okay.
You're good.
Welcome to the stream, everybody.
I just heard Cass say she was trying to pull her shirt up. Like, what? Wait,
It's gonna be a
My nose,
wild
yes.
after dark show. Anyway,
we need
we're
to do that one day.
The amount of just
The lights are
normal everything happening right now. Fantastic.
Yes, welcome to an all new episode of SCNS Live Plays D&D. We'll be
Yeah.
back in our studio next week. Today, props to Joseph for
Thank you.
sharing his space.
And his alcohol.
He'll never see this.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh, that wasn't.
We didn't take a
I thought that was an
handle piece.
amenity.
We can't tell him that.
I'm just.
It's totally
I
still
brought my own
vodka
stuff.
in there. It's not water.
It's not water.
We didn't fill it with
Just
water.
kidding, I brought
Take
my
it home
own
in a 2 liter.
Prepare for
Half
Al Ross to
water,
make some
half hand
wild
sanitizer.
combat
Yeah.
decisions.
Anyway, thank you for joining us. We have some announcements this week with our sponsors. Jason, why don't you take it away?
Yes, I do have a sponsor. This is actually a business venture of my own. Is D&D Beyond just making things too easy and uncomplicated for you? Our traditional character sheets just hard to understand, and the layout is just too good? Well, I have the product for you. That is Jason the X fully customizable D&D sheets. Yes. For only the low price of $4.99, we can provide you with with this custom D&D sheet. You can put your name wherever, your stats wherever you please. Yes, and if you act now, 5 sheets, $4.99 a piece, we will give you the calibration device to make the lines yourself. This has been fully vetted and tested within our labs. As you can see, it lays very nicely. And you might be wondering, $4.99 a sheet? That's pretty expensive. But wait, ours come with 2 sides to use. Yes, JTX character sheets, TM. That is trademarked.
Sure.
Patent pending. All proceeds can come directly to me, and these will be in the mail right away. Get a 20-pack today for the low price of $4.99 a sheet. I can't go. You know what? Know what? Hey, I'm crazy today. $3.99 a sheet.
Whoa!
But Jason, in the mail that might be too big. What can I do about that?
What? No. They're also easily portable.
Yeah, there we go.
Look at this. This can fit in your pocket, folks.
Ooh.
What if I want to copy one?
Well, that would actually be that would
That'd
be
be a
something
violation
our
of
lawyers
that,
would be on your ass.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
and they are.
Because I'm
they are
pretty sure
ready.
I've seen one of those before.
Yeah. No. Oh no.
Probably somebody
No.
didn't
See,
pay
look.
for it.
As you can see in the corner, JTX trademark right there, right there. This is a trademark product. I will hear nothing else.
It's a tiny piece of paper.
Now, did you trademark both sides of the paper?
No, just come on now. That would be just arrogant. Come on now.
That's not how copyright works.
Yes, just email me right away, and I will make sure that these get out to you within a week.
Within
Shipping ground.
Big promises.
2 in a week.
3 to 7 business days.
U.S. only. Terms
process
and
in
conditions
37
apply.
business days. Who knows when it'll get
Not eligible.
Yeah,
in
we
Quebec.
can't be.
You know, if you buy 20, I'll include the calibration device for free.
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
Object may not be as appears.
Is there friends and family discount? Hate to ask.
Absolutely not. No, come
Fair
on.
enough.
I
Fair.
gotta get paid.
Support the stream. But for real, if you want to support if you want to sponsor us, hit up me, Bad Moon, at supercoolnerdshow.com. Also, we're going to go around real quick. Everybody say where they can find you if you want them to and who you're playing today. First, I'm Bad Moon, and you can find me occasionally at BetterCat on Instagram and Twitter.
appreciate somebody was like, old school character sheets.
Yes. Oh, sorry. Hello,
it's
my
a
name's
throwback.
Octavia. Hello, my name's Octavia. I'm a high elf monk, and my name is Cass, and you can find me at Instagram and Twitter at @thegoodcass.
My name is Ronnie. I'm an Erganasi Ranger. And my name is Mia, and you can find me running wild through the wilderness on the full moon.
Do you howl?
Yes.
That
Are you
piqued
wearing
my
clothes?
interest.
when
Anyway,
that happens?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Frequently
Don't
not,
tie
but
yourself
like,
down to an expectation. I
yeah,
get it.
But also, I saw Betty Proctor with the devil.
exactly. I saw
Fair.
Goody Proctor with the devil.
I will be playing Alabroth Druid, a
Girl,
Dragonborn
what were you
cleric. You
doing?
can find me at Jason the X on Instagram and Twitter. Going to be lots of toy pics this week, y'all.
That's not a euphemism, folks.
Are you?
Hi,
No,
I'm
actually,
Christian,
Alabroth
and I'll be
Druid.
playing Azra the Wizard in this evening's production of SCNS Live Campaign New Tyranna D&D. And you can find me afraid, hiding under my bed, because I hear strange howling outside my window.
True.
That's me. Sorry about that.
It's both of you.
Yeah,
Surprise.
we're running wild.
Yes.
You saw me with
She's
the
on
devil.
one side of the house, you're on the other, making sure he knows
We'll
he's
meet in the
cornered.
middle and either eat each other alive or attack or
No. We can circle. That way, he knows that he's in danger.
All
Yeah.
else fails, we'll get bubble tea.
You're
Consider me
circling at
knowing.
opposite ways. Like, so you're going this way, she's going this way, and as you pass, that's when you howl. Ow.
I like it.
Yeah.
New plan.
Oh, hello. I am Cora. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Corodono Art for all things art and Suikoden, many Suikoden. I am playing Brana, the Asimar Rogue.
I just got so distracted by Suikoden and I was like, new things and even more things. It's a good year for video games.
I'd also like to give out one more shout out. One of our viewers out there, Tech Force, is watching right now. Please go check out his new song, Unspoken, on Bandcamp. It is very good.
Hello.
And
Also,
for new to
Nerds
show.
Vote. New
Nerds vote.
partnership.
Yes, we have partnered with Nerds Vote as a bipartisan announcement. Please use your voice to vote. Go register to vote and vote off. Well, vote in every election because your voice does deserve to be heard. Do you want to check out your status or see what type of elections are in your area? You can go to nerdsvote.com.
Vote early, vote often.
It should be Nerds Vote, but you could also get it with a comma so it says Nerds Vote.
Yeah.
Either or, whatever.
There we go.
Anyway, what happened last session?
Yes, I'm
Oh,
the
boy.
official. No, it's a
Here we
good
go.
one. I'm the official recapturer.
The recast.
Recast is also good.
Yes.
All right, last week on SCNS Live on YouTube. We're under attack, and it's coming from inside the house. It's Alabroth. Al attacked the party, believing them to be the bad guys, the Changeling and his cohorts. We put him down, Octavia delivering the final blow, immediately
It's
followed
the
by...
last shout out you get for your own kill.
Yeah. Immediately followed by reviving him. We then made our way to Strassus. On the way, Brana had a horrifying dream of the king and his kids dead in an army advancing. In Strassus, we made our way to a Strassus.
Right before you got there, Alabroth got a message.
Alabroth got a message. I didn't write it down.
It's okay. Alabroth got a message warning him not to go to any of the king's allies.
Yeah.
Yep.
Summon Jira from through the Iron Maiden.
She's a weapon shop in Strassus.
Yes, with a very hot owner. In Strassus, we make our way to Strassus's office, and then things got very Hateful Eight, very Eugene O'Neill, very 12 Angry Men, as we all kind of broke into little groups and sniped at each other. Mostly Octavia. Oh yes, I have Octavia sucked for an entire afternoon, blaming Al for attacking them when it wasn't his fault. After several conversations, we got a message. The king and his children are dead.
So,
Dun, dun, dun.
you guys are in the office. We're going to pick up immediately after that. It is just because we haven't kept up with it. It's mid-afternoon, probably. Early afternoon, around 2 o'clock. You did send for Jira through the Iron Maiden shortly after you arrived. I think you've probably been there about an hour and a half, 2 hours. Probably 2 hours, right? And before knowing what actions you're going to take, I want to know where each of your attention goes in that moment upon hearing the announcement, because Brana had not shared all the details. And obviously, we're going to start with Brana, but I want to say, like, I'm going to leave up to you what your face shows, and that can inform whoever might be looking. And
Yeah.
How does Brana react?
Not like any like action, but his face has paled.
Registered
Ex-
some
exceptional.
sort of.
There's no.
That's not your job.
I know.
You're saying it's observable.
It's very observable that his face, like the
Yeah.
blood just leaves his face. His eyes have gone wide, and he's just still.
Okay.
Well,
Good to know.
do we notice that?
It's going to depend on what you say your reaction is, because there's several things that could happen in this moment. Azra, what do you think your reaction is?
Azra is confused at first and glances over at the king, who is here in the room with us. And
He's hidden, though.
He is hidden behind the desk.
That's true, but Azra knows he's here. It's just the new guy doesn't. The person who's entered the room. Oh yeah, and yeah, I think maybe doesn't glance at the king, knowing that the king is hidden. But face of confusion for a second, and that's it.
Because you said you know the king is hidden, we're going to come back to that for us in a minute.
Okay.
Al instantly, it's that damn changeling again.
Okay?
I'm looking right at Brana because I was just talking to him about him having horrifying visions, and then you said,
Oh yeah, I did say at the end of the last session that was real with a question mark at the end of it.
yeah. So since I was standing right there, I would have heard that.
I think no roll required for Ronnie to pick up on that, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's pretty obvious.
Octavia.
Can you remind me of the exact phrasing? Well, the message that we heard?
You think I can remind? No, yeah, I can. Basically, he said the king and his sons have been reported dead in. I think he just said Rexera.
I thought it was like
Yeah.
in a street.
He might have said Black Rust.
Rex-
Oh yeah, he said Black Rust. He didn't specify Frostbite Alley in actuality,
that
but he did
was-
say Black Rust of the city.
Oh, I thought I heard
I
Frostbite.
think instantly
No,
we
I
just
said
thought-
it,
That
and
was
then I
during my
changed my
vision.
mind.
Oh, it was
That's
a
such a
retcon?
specific whatever.
Gotcha.
Whoopsie.
But Black Rust for sure.
Um,
instantly, are those the children? So we don't know where they are.
Nothing physical immediately.
Just like, did any of you look to anyone specific other than Ronnie, who obviously did? And I assume you look at no one because you're so.
Yeah, I've like zoned out.
Do you look at somebody for a cue or a
really just goes into like almost strategizing mode.
roll me an intelligence check? And I want. Alibroth, you can roll me either perception or insight. The
Top.
perception DC is lower, but I know you have better insight.
I do have experience.
The insight check is higher.
It's 12.
So 12.
ooh, nice.
Well, that's going to be a 27,
Ooh,
What did you roll?
19.
19.
Holy.
My insight is +8.
The reason you got that roll at all is because you've spent maybe more time with the king just in the past day. You come to similar conclusions that you need to get this guy out of here. Like this kid. Yours is based on the fact that you've had some security breaches maybe. So if that guy knows the king is here,
Mm.
then you could have a problem with the memory-eating monster on campus somewhere.
Sure.
Did he ever come fully into the room?
Yeah, I pulled
He
him in.
did
Okay,
come
that's what you
into
did.
the
That's fine.
room.
Okay.
He's at the entrance. He's not really. He didn't take a minute.
Just making
to
sure
himself.
one changeling smashing time.
No, what you observe with that insight roll is kind of similar, but it's very much focused on the energy of the king is going to pop up or start making noise very quick. when he heard his kids.
I'm going to kind of stand in front of him and just very just kind of shake my head, just kind of trying to silently.
He could probably. I'm gonna check to see if he can notice that, but he can definitely see.
Like
it.
full on, just.
Yeah, well, because you were
no.
sitting on the desk that he's hiding behind.
Right.
He has
So-
rolled poorly several times.
And I'm
in a
very
row.
wide, so-
I'm going to give you guys basically a round if you choose to take an action.
I don't recognize this kid, right?
No, we don't.
Okay, I'm gonna say thank you very much.
Okay.
You need to be able to speak freely. So.
Okay.
I think Azra will assist.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say he might resist, but
Yeah.
if there are two of you, then absolutely.
Especially one of them.
Do you, Ronnie, do you take any actions?
Once the kid's out of the
Yeah.
room, they're like,
Has that resolved? Has that happened?
Yeah, like easy enough. I already said he was a slight kid.
Yeah.
"What happened?"
This is a trap. They are trying to draw us out.
Ronnie doesn't even look
We
at
have
you.
reacted to everything they have done.
Yeah, I don't think Ronnie probably doesn't even.
I mean, Ronnie might glance over in your direction, but will very, very immediately redirect attention at Brana.
I don't think we have to roll to like you guys pick up on that pretty fast because Ronnie's really attentive, and Brana like chooses their moments, but as soon as the kid's out, then it's not putting on any kind of show.
Yeah, no.
So,
At that point, he's just gonna like sit on the ground.
What?
How do you change color like that?
Chameleon.
I saw their bodies.
When?
You're going to have to give me a moment to collect myself.
We don't have a moment. What are you talking about?
If you want to know what happened, you're going to have to give me a moment to breathe. And you're going to have to forgive me for not saying anything.
Alabroth, you do hear the king crying, but I'm gonna say Astrophus goes back there, and I will, with your insight roll, you know to give them a minute, like some privacy to let them process.
I would be quiet with the details for now.
And so I motion them away.
Yeah, and we've established some sort of sense of privacy, so you guys are able to separate enough to where you can talk.
Do you remember when I woke up the other night with the vision? And
I do.
I saw it. I saw the king hanging from the announcer's platform in Frostbite Alley in the fighting pit. I saw the three children. I'm not talking about how they were, but they were dead. They were missing their eyes. There was writing everywhere. I don't know if that is there, but it was in Celestial. It may have been from whoever sent this to me. He, like, pulls out his journal. Because I also keep all the
It's an IRL journal. I'm so proud of you.
There was a message written on the King's Cape that coming soon, the Bloodthirsty Games, winner take all. And each of the children had a title. Lacrosse's beloved, Barbarian, and Rexterra will not stand for this. And the next thing I saw was a mob storming into the fighting pits towards the bodies, and that when they would have made contact with me is when I woke up. I was not in control. This is the first time I've ever not been present. It was like I was looking through someone else's eyes. I've never seen writing in these. It's never been this visceral before, and it's never been this clear.
I'm going to place a hand on Brana's shoulder and just your abilities are a boon for us. But I'm not angry you didn't share. I'm not angry you didn't share this because it could have been beneficial to us. This is very difficult. You should have shared this with us.
It's not the only one I've not shared. There was one that was much more personal that I did not share because it had nothing to do with anyone else here.
But
But now I'm scared.
You don't have to take this burden alone.
It was a personal vision,
And I understand.
and all of them have been very dodgy. They've been very not clear. They've never been this exact before. I've never had a reason to believe that something like this was real. And now I have confirmation that that is real.
As upsetting as it is, do you recall any details? Who, or maybe, do you know who you may have been seeing this through?
I have no idea.
Roll an insight or perception.
No.
Oh God.
It's not a 1. You said
That's
insight?
not encouraging.
She made the nervous
This
laugh.
is just how sure you're going to be about what I'm going to tell you.
11.
Although, like, a lot of your dreams are kind of random, you don't think you were in somebody else's body.
Yeah.
But you're not sure.
I don't think I was in anyone else's body. I think I was more like, kind of how, like,
As an outside
Disembodied?
viewer of this.
an outside viewer. I was also not.
Sorry, just
No, you're fine.
He was able to see something that was current.
I was also not sure how to bring that up. Because how in all the 7 hells do you tell someone to their face that you saw their corpse hanging 20 feet off the ground?
You don't tell the king, but you do tell your compatriots.
And when did I have a chance to do that? We have all been around the king. I could not say a thing. And again, my visions have never led us to anything that made any sense.
There's also no reason to believe that that was anything but a bad dream because we had just left.
I'm not going to tell you how your character feels, but it would be irritating to me. It's always been, like, vague and whatever, and the fact that this one is precise didn't help you.
Yeah.
How are you? There was no action that you could have taken for it,
Yeah.
and, like, it's just like, sure, but so what? You said the damn changeling out loud, yes?
Yeah,
Anyone proficient Arcana can roll, but it is a pretty high DC.
I'm proficient in acrobatics.
Ooh.
Does that help?
Oh, I think I might have hit it.
I'm not proficient in Arcana.
What's in my Arcana?
If anyone should be
Oh, sorry.
proficient in Arcana, it should be
23.
the wizard.
I assumed it
Ooh.
was, if anybody, but like.
What?
You,
23.
it was a 21 DC on that. You
Get
know
the
that changelings revert in death to their form. There's not a ton of info on them, but in fact, that's the only information that your world really has that could lead you to numbers of how many might exist, is because they revert when they die to a very, very, very pale, with, you know, black, white, or silver. A dwarf could not, a changeling could not pass for dwarf in death.
That does not make things better.
I don't know if you share that, but you do know
Oh.
it.
She's got questions. She's just waiting for the appropriate time.
Fair. And
What?
I will say, you can also, because you're so in tune with, you can hear the king, and now, like, at this point, you hear Astrophus is asking the king for all the details that he knows and kind of distracting him with logistics, and he's also asking for verification if there's any way to verify the son's identity and how well known that is.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously the king is probably the real king. You have no reason not to believe that. I'm not going to tell you answers.
No.
Yeah,
I was
you know
just-
it's not an illusion.
Yeah, I was going through that process in my head.
Yeah. But Yeah, so you feel confident that the king, for the moment, is probably in the best situation for him.
I have 2 things I would like to inquire about.
Oi.
One, what is going on? What you said a trap. Who is laying this trap, and who would it be for? If it is a trap for you, surely they would know that you are in custody of the king right now.
Exactly.
So why would we believe that if there is a dead king that is fake, why would we not also believe... They're out. They're gone.
No,
Yeah.
because his sons are involved.
Why would we not also believe that those are fake?
Who
dead
would
sons?
know?
We don't know, but someone would draw us out to make sure.
Why would the changeling know that we had the king?
Freed him from the cave.
They don't know who freed him from the cave.
Well, they know someone did.
Well, yes, but they don't know it's us.
What changeling? That's sort of a follow-up question here.
One that we intend to
What are you looking at me for?
destroy.
We were framed for murder in another town by a changeling
Also arson.
and arson, and he also killed a bartender who was very sweet to us and very kind, and we were trying to find him to not only clear our names but to avenge his death.
Okay.
We did not bring that up when we first met you because it wasn't quite as important at the time.
I think what Azra knows is that they were falsely accused. I think that's what
Yeah.
you got into. But you weren't bothered by a checkered past with them for some reason.
Yeah.
Shit happens.
I would like to use sending and talk to my father. Since he's
Roll
back
a
there.
perception check.
Wait.
Mm.
Oh yeah. Oh, gone.
Roll a perception check.
Perception, that's not great. Well, wait, no, that is great. 14.
You look around the room, you can't cast sending from in here.
Oh, yeah.
And you realize that before you
Cora were like,
expend the spell slot.
It's like I got the wire in my hand and go, oh, wait.
And then you
Third
look
question,
over at
or-
Ronnie, who looks
It's
like
like your ninth.
One
somebody
A and
the cat
B,
dragged in because
and
he's
this
so
is the
sweaty
second question.
and miserable with the wind.
You mentioned in this nightmare you had this
I'll take my shit.
vision, I think we can ascertain, that you were reading a language that you could not understand. Is that correct?
No, I could understand it.
You could.
It was celestial.
It was. Oh, I thought you said it was not. Okay.
I've never seen that in visions before.
Hmm.
And Celestial is a pretty rare language for anything to be
Yes.
written.
So I'm not actually sure if that was part, like if that's there or not, or if that was just them trying to give me more.
Roll a perception check, but I'm going to give you disadvantage on it because you're distracted. But
I
it's
think
not
we-
a crazy idea.
We should not rule out the
I'm
likelihood
so
that this is not a
fine.
trap for you specifically, but a trap for the public, for everyone
Yes.
else to think that the king
18.
is dead and his sons are dead.
18,
That's what I think.
With an 18, you glance down at your ring, and what is usually like, you don't get to see your magic items as mundane, everyday items. Usually they have a glow, at least to you personally, and you look down on it and you see it actually, you take it off, you think you feel something inside it for the first time, and in Celestial, on the inside of it, it says strength. And it
Strength?
didn't, it says strength.
Strength.
And you know for a fact it didn't used to say anything. I'm gonna say because, yeah, that's me telling you that this is a new power, and that
Yeah.
it has something to do with your patron or your
Yeah.
yeah. But it is written in Celestial, and you know it wasn't there when you got it.
Yeah, I don't think, like, Azra's right, there's no reason to think that this was a trap for us specifically, because no one random knows that we found the king at all, much less that we are the ones who were with him, and also that changeling is who had them, or who had him, and that we had met before. That's too many coincidences. I think this is, because didn't Ember say that war could break out again if the king wasn't found?
Was it Ember?
You guys have had suspicions, and it wouldn't be a far thing that like tensions have just started to die down. It's a post they had a civil war and split into multiple countries. Like those tensions would last a while, and it took a third party to kind of help them even come to the table. It's a pretty tense piece right now.
Yeah, somebody did tell us that specifically.
Yes.
I don't remember for
Yeah,
sure.
I don't
I
remember
don't
if it
even
was
remember
Ember.
if it was Ember or me
Or
or
Daniel
somebody
or-
else.
yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
So,
But on top of
So-
this, and with the message that I received that we are not to take the king back to the seat of power,
so we just let the public believe that their leader is dead?
Well,
I think we should
I
definitely...
don't think that's something we navigate. I think we keep the king safe.
An honest question: do you think any of you pay attention to politics, like outside of your immediate
How are my
circle?
taxes?
No.
Azra might.
Because of the power play?
Yeah.
Just like powerful people, it's good to keep an eye on powerful people moving. Just the
And being
practices.
with like in like wizardly academia, like that's not just school. Like that's gonna be you're gonna have like a lot of connections to like royalty and like the ruling class, I would imagine,
Money and
because like
power.
magic would need to be like regulated, basically.
And I will say, I think it makes sense for Azra because of her whole thing.
Yeah.
The power was shaken up. The king is normally kind of a figurehead, right? And doesn't have anything to do with almost anything. But the war started because the other people in power, that held positions and titles and stuff, were so taking advantage of the Rexteran resources and hiring cheap labor and whatever. The king was above most of the dirty stuff, but a lot of nobility lost power, lost titles, lost whatever, because they were incredible assholes who probably caused a war. So the structure that's been taking care of things has been the few that remained of the nobility and some of the very high-ranking people that came in from the council. A couple of members of the council have been in there. But yeah, and you've tracked some of those movements, because anytime there's movement that high up, it is interesting. And you're in Strassus, so you can't avoid hearing about it.
Perhaps these actions betray its motive. They want people to think that the king is dead. Even if that is not true, they are trying to provoke conflict.
The king resided with my family for a time. I could send a message to my father and ask him what's the situation on the ground there.
Yes, I don't think we should take the king back there,
Oh,
though.
absolutely
That's
not.
not safe.
No.
You have said the king is not safe among his allies. Is that true of all of them, or
We have-
simply?
We don't know which
We have
ones.
someone coming from the Iron Maiden, and maybe they'll have insight on what to do.
Do we?
No, I thought we had to go to that.
We
No,
we
no, we
summoned.
sent
We
for him.
summoned.
We summoned.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, they already had a message go out to
You
Jura.
got a message, right?
I received a message from a
From-
Dragonborn, another ally of mine.
And we should trust. I'm sorry, she's not going to be that bitchy.
Oh no, she's.
It's-
I figured she'd be a jerk
It's
for me.
no, I was thinking. There's a
She might
comedian.
ask, like,
There's a comedian that's like, when you're really mad at somebody, everything that they do pisses you off. Look at that bitch eating chicken. That's all I can think. That's all I can think this whole episode. And this
Would-
is someone that you trust.
Don't you have
Absolutely.
100%
Don't you have a-
implicitly. He taught you a lot of what you need.
don't you have kind of a tense relationship with other Dragonborn?
No. I'm probably the most well-adjusted of all of you. I said it.
I've got no leg to stand on in this fight.
Based on what you've told me, this chameleon has engaged in subterfuge in order to remove the king from power, yes?
Yes.
Quite possibly. We don't have all the details, and the king was not unable to provide all of them.
That would make me think that subterfuge would not be required unless there were few betrayers among the king's court, which might mean that he has more allies than enemies in the court. If we were able to return the king to power with ourselves being his guard and counsel. He would have people he knows he can trust that are around him at all times, but he could also reobtain power he needs to create stability.
Well, the trouble being that when we don't know who among his who should be his allies saw him removed from power, but we also know that a changeling is involved. So even if we were able to verify that everyone that we're letting him be surrounded by, if we were to continue on as his guard, is truly an ally, if we leave his side for any time, that changeling could slip in and take the place of someone, and we would have the same problem over again.
Also,
Perhaps.
it would appear part of their plan is to make everyone believe the king is dead. So it would probably behoove them to ensure the king is dead.
Which
Yes.
is why should we not let everyone know that he is not, at least for a time?
It could put his sons in danger. If those aren't his sons in that I saw in the vision, then they're still alive somewhere. And if they know that we have the king, then they can just kill them
It will
immediately.
certainly put the king more
And
in
with the
danger.
changeling involved, they could
And
easily
then-
say he's not the real king. I think we should follow the instructions and keep him out of
This-
sight.
Azra will whisper, what is more important right now, the kingdom or his sons?
Thank you. It's gonna be
In my
disappointed
opinion,
if you say that.
in my opinion, his children.
No. But if he actually dies, that's a problem for us. That's a problem for everyone.
At this
Putting
point,
him in a position to not be safe is not.
Astrophis speaks up, so apparently they're kind of joining now, and not before. Right now, Astrophis says, once you introduce the ideas that, oh, this person that was in power, but it's not this person, it's been replaced by this person, and maybe somebody was pretending to be other people, it's not a stable situation anyway, and the king being alive is only a certain amount of reassuring. And then he stops and he looks at Brana like, the only thing he picked up with his perception check is that it started with Brana giving information. And he says, you alright, son? No. This is the office for that. No one ever is around here. No one else besides me. And he hands you his cup of tea. Do you taste it?
I'm holding the cup, like, you can see, like, there's, like, a little shake. And he's not certain if he wants to drink it. Like,
He had
it's
just
that-
prepared it, and and then he's like, and he gives it to you. But yeah, let me know if does he sniff it?
He does sniff it.
It smells a little like kind of some herbal thing, and he's like, it's very strong tea, be careful.
He does take a sip.
It's spiked with a little bit of weed, basically. Just a little bit, for calmness reasons.
Rather than does with
CBDT.
CBDT,
He'll,
yes.
Basically.
he'll take a couple of sips and just kind of sit there.
It's not going to mess you up, that's not a mechanic.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just
I figure it'll.
he was like, and then you pay a little bit more attention when he makes himself a new cup, and you see just a little bit of like sprinkling on the top. I want you to roll a perception check because I want to know if Azra picks up wine.
Ooh.
Damn.
That's a 19 plus
Aww.
a meager 2, 21.
With a 21, you know, not only do you catch what happened, even though nobody said anything out loud there, you realize for maybe the first time that Astrophis has a certain amount of social anxiety because you know he wasn't spiking his tea on the regular. And you think that might be why. There's like, some of his habits make a tad more sense. The king looks calm. You guys are smart enough to realize that you think Astrophis has probably said, we don't know anything, and you're not dead.
As difficult as this is, I'm so sorry. Octavia doesn't do that.
Yeah.
There's like all kinds of germs in that shirt now.
Yeah. As difficult as this is, I don't think our plans have changed. We cannot bring you into the open. I think we still need to go with Alabroth's friend's plan.
Now you can roll an insight check.
Hey!
Did I catch the like backhanded Alabro?
Yes.
Okay.
It was not subtle.
No, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't. What was? Sorry, what were you asking for?
Insight.
Insight is a +7. And what is that? This is an old dice. That's a 9. So 16.
Ooh.
16's decent. With 16, you catch a reaction to you indicating what the king's going to do next. And you don't have all the context for why, but you see a reaction to you guys trying to decide what he's going to do. Trying to decide if 16's enough. No, he's just gonna, he kind of nods and he's like, as grateful as I am for all of your help, you will not decide how I proceed. We will be allies nonetheless, and I am very grateful. This decision will be decided together. I am grateful for your counsel.
I will add that.
And you think it was against you a little bit, you specifically, but you don't know why.
That's weird. Just trying to be helpful.
I get that.
Cass is having a great time.
I will add that we also don't know that any of the people found were actually your sons, because whoever they found was not actually you.
The king sits there for a minute and he's like, it is quite classified. And he glances at Astrophus and you gather they've been talking about this. And he's like, it is secret, but there are ways of verifying that are not well known. And he glances at Alabroth and he's like, your father, in his position, if he did not know that, he would be told at this incident. So
I could step outside and send a message.
And the king, for the first time,
You will not step out alone.
has straightened up and has been like, not yet. We wait for Jira. And then maybe at that point, yes. He glances at you. You make an insight check. These are all different things, but like.
I rolled a 1
So insightful.
for a fantastic whopping total
Womp womp.
of 7.
Oh, me too.
Ooh.
Okay.
7.
Oh, we're all rolling
7.
insight? Okay.
No, but Ronnie is.
I saw me roll. I was like, I want to be.
That's only. I only got an 8.
I want to play.
My bad luck seeped over to you.
Okay, and none of you notice anything unusual, but the king does look at you and say, that must have been terrifying. That sucks. Like, he's got nothing.
Yeah, no.
But at the very least, it's some small comfort that he doesn't seem to, like, put you, like, look at you too different. Tyranna has a lot of experience being looked at for things Brana didn't do.
Yeah, he didn't look at me like it was my fault.
No.
And that's more what Brana was terrified of.
You feel reassured that even just the empathizing is something.
Yeah.
How's Shackles doing?
So wait.
Shackles is sleeping more peacefully than you guys are at any point.
He thrives
Ever.
in chaos.
Yes, he gained a little bit of weight.
Yeah.
He farts silently in his sleep and probably leaves a bunch of hair on my new quilts. Anyway.
So we're literally going to go back to waiting? Just...
Yeah, you go back to waiting. We don't have to play that out, although if
while
anybody
we-
has something.
while we-
Azra. You can go.
While we wait, I'm going to take a closer look at this mace.
Okay, while you're doing that, Azra would like to reiterate, my lord, if you would appreciate some counsel, returning you to power may be risky, but the threat and its nature is now known. We can be better prepared. And also, you have with you now a mage that could ascertain who the traitors of your court are.
Roll a persuade. It is true. Roll a persuasion check.
16?
The king looks at you for a minute and he's like, if the decision is for me to publicly take power immediately, I will keep that in mind. And I am grateful for your offer. You do observe that, like, you think you might have come on too strong, but clearly not way too strong, or he would have just shut you down. But you see Astraphus out of the corner of your eye, like, almost roll his eyes a tiny, tiny bit. But he doesn't say anything, which in itself is significant.
Brana is going to step away from everyone and just kind of, like, sit there with his tea. Not even really drinking it, but, like, staring into the cup kind of thing.
What is his posturing? Is he, there's the I'm by myself, come sit with me if you want, and there's I'm by myself, give me a minute. Alabroth is the king of I'm by myself, give me a minute.
He doesn't give it off either one of those. It's just sitting away from all of the people while his mind is, like, ticking.
Okay.
While he just mindlessly stares into a cup of still liquid.
So in the interim, you have a longer discussion with the king than that. He inquires about your expertise in that regard. Alabroth was doing something.
I was trying to find, like, anything on this.
You're inspecting your mace, which I'll come back to.
Okay.
What are Ronnie and Octavia doing?
What's the floor like?
It's kind of amorphous.
The one magical
probably
item in this room.
sitting kind of, if you're talking to the king, you're probably in the corner area of, like, Azra's desk, maybe.
Yeah.
Like, that kind of...
Is this like carpet, stone, tile?
Okay. It's wooden, but it has, like, a grate on top of it, because there's iron everywhere in this room.
Okay. Ronnie's gonna, like, find a section of wood and lay, like, face down on it.
Okay.
Because it's gonna be cooler.
I feel like Ronnie probably postures
doesn't
near
have
the
his
door
personal
where that
AC.
tiny
Yeah.
slit is, so at least some of the breeze
Just like a
is
little bit
coming
of
through.
air.
So
Just like, oh my god, is this what people feel like all the time?
So he's planking on the plank.
Like,
Well,
Like a Texan when the fan goes off in the room.
You go on the opposite side of the door from where it opens, so you're not concerned about that. But the nice, cool grate of the cold metal. You
yeah,
keep
I'm
moving
finding
your face around.
where there is airflow and a surface that's not going to be warm if he lays on it, and he's gonna lay there.
Shackles comes up, crawls on your back, and curls up, and he's so hot. You feel like he's doing it to be.
And now you can't move. Do we hear
You're like,
Ronnie
"No!"
sobbing?
But the grate feels nice. That's the most cat thing I can ever think of, is to be like, no, I'm going to be your hot water bottle.
It doesn't
what is
matter that it's
Octavia doing?
112
She's
degrees out.
doing her absolute best to look dignified while sulking.
a regal
Wow.
pouting.
Happy to roll for it.
Yeah, roll for it. She's not like this.
One. One.
Not
No,
quiet.
wasn't a
Not
one.
quiet.
No, it was better than a one, but it is.
I assume it's a charisma check of some kind.
Performance.
Yeah, it's going to be 11 minus 1.
You feel like in this moment, nobody's paying attention to you, and you're kind of like, maybe they didn't even catch it. Maybe I imagined, but you didn't imagine it. Alabroth, do you think you try and do that by yourself? Do you ask anybody for help?
Well, nobody can identify in this room.
Nobody can identify it. I'm just
kind of bewildered because I know that everything was cool until this thing, or my amulet, but I would probably know about the amulet because being a cleric.
Yeah, and the amulet is so familiar to you with its weight and everything that, like, you feel.
I knew exactly what that was, but this thing, I'm looking for, is there, like, I don't know, something that says, haha, gotcha, or something on there, like.
I mean, other than the inscription on it, Roll me an investigation check.
Wow, that's not going to be great. So, let's see, 14.
With a 14, you are relatively confident that there's nothing. You don't see anything hidden.
Because somebody checked this thing out, and
Yeah, like, you guys identified it.
Twice.
Well, I don't know if they know that you identified it again. Maybe you
Ronnie
did.
did, yeah.
Tell them.
Yeah.
But you identified it at the shop before you bought it because they said they don't know a lot about it. With that investigation check, you know that it's old and it has, like, it's been in a few battles. It has runic inscriptions, but there's nothing specifically that appears to be sinister about it.
well, then I just shoulder it again and start to think, maybe it's me.
Maybe it is. Maybe it's the forest. Maybe it's, whatever. Astraphos comes over and refreshes your tea at some point. And he says, this one is regular tea.
Yeah.
And he's like, I probably should have warned you, but I was unsettled. You knew there was...
I could tell.
Okay.
Thank you. It was very appreciated, actually.
I just know some days are stressful. He will leave it at that, but he does wait a minute to see if you say anything to him.
I kind of like nod in agreement.
Okay. He pulls up kind of, you notice that he blocks your view a little from everyone else to give you just a minute. And you find yourself thinking he's probably a pretty good teacher,
Yeah.
He seems to care.
Sure.
To some people.
You don't count.
No, probably not.
You have a light lunch. It's kind of awkwardly silent from the perspective of the people who I control in the room.
I will go over and sit next to Brana for a bit, though, and just like, my friend, probably not my position to say anything right now because my previous actions, but if you ever want to share the details of something of this sort, I'm willing to listen with no judgment.
Am I able to hear them?
That's up to them and to you.
Okay.
I, for one, trust your abilities, and honestly, after that altercation, the one thing in the back of my mind was, what degree of death would I be at should you have done one of your stabs on me? I somehow think it would have been magnified in some way had you... I thank you for not giving me the business end of your daggers.
Do you know that it would have been hard to do? Not just because you're, made of scales, but...
On that note,
Ever tactful.
and I would hate to put this burden on you, but if that were to ever happen again, I would ask that you end me.
I will be more forthcoming with these visions now that one of them... I don't even know if it was really called a vision. It's like a premonition, maybe.
What you saw was a current event. I question even the timing of what you saw. Was that happening in real time as you saw it? If not, that's quite the ability to have, as distressing as it might be.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I am limited in how detailed I go into my own nightmares because my reaction is mixed from people. Some people love it, some people are not fans, some people complain they can't sleep for a few nights. No, but do you think Brana in his childhood shared any, just they weren't premonitions to anything you can directly tie into? Do you think he had that experience, or do you think he always kept it to himself, or?
If he talked to anyone, it was his sister. Not because of anything he has against his parents or anything. It was just...
My parents don't know anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just his siblings are closer.
His
How old is Ronnie again?
sister,
Ronnie?
Brana.
I'm sorry, how old is Brana again?
22.
Okay, cool. So
His
about the
sister
same
had
age.
a role not after dark, but other than that, was super here for you.
Yeah.
Hey!
Yeah.
I made that up on the spot.
Yeah. With no prior
Yeah.
reason.
Happy to hear from you and help you when she could, but
Yeah.
that was she didn't do it on purpose, but it was some inclination, like, oh, this fucks with other people too, which is both reassuring and upsetting.
Yeah. And he probably didn't even know that those were any kind of vision. He probably just thought they were nightmares.
Yeah.
And just kind of left it at that.
So he probably has a predisposition to maybe keep it to himself because it doesn't help anybody else and it can disturb them.
Right. And also, like with the one that he hasn't told y'all about, that one had nothing to do with the party, so he didn't see a need to share that information.
He also had a lot on his plate because he was telling certain members of the party who's blind at the same time.
Yeah, that was because that
or not blind.
Yeah.
That was in the same sequence
Been
of
betrayed
events.
from day one.
All of you fuckers.
I've been the perfect companion.
Also, while we're sitting there, I'm gonna do that buddy like.
Brana will kind of like
Can Ronnie hear y'all?
if he's
Nears-
if he's nearby.
If he's nearby.
Yes.
He probably has. That's a little spatially, maybe not technically, but sure. Ronnie probably has pretty good hearing because otherwise the wind would interfere with it normally. And in this stillness, you feel like you're super hearing.
Also, it's
Just a little
it's
tiny
like
bit.
Like tinnitus, but it's just
but it's basically
Oh.
it's also
Tap the back of your head.
yeah.
It makes the noise go away.
It's also probably something to distract him from how much he is dying from the heat with the cat on him and not being able to feel his wind.
Ronnie will like. You can also talk to me.
Just rolls over.
Yeah, like just the part that he can move without dislodging the cat because he feels like while he doesn't think Astrophus would be upset with him for like trying to move the cat, he thinks Shackles would probably claw up his back.
Shackles seems like
And he does have half of his back exposed.
Yeah, he seems like the sort who's not going to take kindly to anyone making decisions for him.
Roll off like a
Which is
salve.
weird for a familiar, but also accurate.
Do y'all glance up at all while you're having this conversation?
No one's paying attention to you.
I'm terrified of you.
Just saying, Octavia's in the corner, just like.
Yeah, but you're pissed at me, so I'm avoiding you
Also, Brana
in this tiny ass room.
It
not
entirely
having a good
depends
time.
on whether or not he can see you from where his face is turned toward the crack in the door.
It's interesting, this is an out-of-game observation, that Octavia doesn't know how to ask for attention that she wants. That's all I'm going to say about that, because I don't want to spoil anything for you about anything. But yeah, like, she doesn't know.
About as relatable as she's ever been.
Yep.
That was clearly what I was going for.
He does look to both of you. Thank you. I will go to you, either of you, if I ever need to. I might need to later.
After Azra exhausts the initial topic with the king, which was a longer conversation, he doesn't immediately move away from her. Do you think she moves into trying to talk about something else? Like, she feels that cease. What happens after that?
To just move on like Michael Cera and
I
Superbad.
I want to know what Azra does. If she stalls out, if she, like... Her social skills are
Roll a
iffy.
wisdom saving throw.
She has good, better charisma than me, I think, for sure. But I don't. I feel like there's still like the wall of like royal, not royal. So I don't think she wants to overstep boundaries in anything other than her official capacity. So she'll awkwardly wait for him to prompt more conversation, and if nothing comes, she will stare in the general direction he is.
It takes longer than it would normally for him, but he is a dignitary and he's pretty good. And he starts asking Ezra questions about her accent and where she's from and that kind of thing. And he asks about her parents and how they came here and stuff like that because he's very interested in... She has a little bit of a dialect and he's interested in getting more details on that. So you have a nice chat.
I will stare over at Octavia, like when she's not making eye contact with me, just to try to like gauge what's going on with her. Just kind of like. But
Go ahead.
anytime she looks, I'm just
There's a lot of like puppy dog like dropping the eye contact.
Yeah.
How's
Octavia's also
Octavia-
entirely welcome to come talk to Ronnie.
Yeah. How does Octavia feel about the fact that they did surround Brana.
Yeah.
I'm not saying whether that's justified, and Octavia's just butthurt and brought out a traumatic nightmare.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking. But how does she feel?
She's furious. Like, she cannot believe that she's the bad guy in this situation.
Giving off just rancid vibes.
She feels like she's
Okay.
that they've decided that she's the one that doesn't matter.
I'm rolling an
And so-
insight check for Astrophis.
Yeah.
With tact.
I feel bad because Ronnie can't see you, or else he'd probably come talk to me.
It's not like you got guiding bolted in the fight. I mean,
Astrophis kind of hangs out near you. You don't know if it's just because everybody else kind of partnered up or what. You assume he's from a different part of Vayer based on his dialect, but how long ago that was or whatever. He's pretty lacrossified.
Yeah. But I can hear that just remnants of Vayer in his
Lacrosse.
voice.
So you guys have lunch, and at about this point you've been there about maybe 3 hours or so, and as you all sit in your own little worlds, you hear a knock at the door.
Ronnie will roll out of the way of the door.
Does Shackles claw him?
just rolling like
Shackles,
Isaiah from My Hero Academia.
Shackles goes and stands in front of the door. Just
Like
to
a
be
cat.
inconvenienced.
Aswer goes back up to the door to open as usual and just stares at Shackles.
You guys have not developed any kind of friendship. I'll say that. He wasted one of your magic papers when you were copying your spells by sitting on it.
She's gonna think about casting Mage Hand to just shove out of the way, but then realizes that she can't, and she's just gonna with her foot just
Also, Mage Hand can only move a certain amount of weight.
it's 5 pounds. It's a big cat, yeah.
A poke him in the butthole.
Yeah. I pat.
Do you find yourself for a split second thinking about the nature of familiars, because they're usually compelled, but not only not within this room, and exists as kind of this weird space. Astrophis prompts the king again to go hide. And
Whatever
then,
he's hiding in, I'm gonna stand in front of him.
and then he says, if it is Jira, he should come inside. We assume we can trust him because that was the word we received, yes?
Certainly hope so. Yes.
He glances at the king, and you see a little thumbs up come. And you open the door.
Well, I ask through the door, identify yourself?
Jira?
Crack open the door, take a peek, looks like Jira. Do I know who Jira looks like?
And we're going to take a break there just because it's convenient, just real quick.
Okay.
Alright.
And we will be back in probably 5 minutes.
Wahoo!
No, I know. I figured it was your pitch. Okay.
Oh.
Cartoon.
And we're back.
Like the Nixon was.
Hi.
I put one on before we start usually. Yes. So,
We has visitor.
We has visitor.
Jira. And you open the door, and what you all see is a guy. It's a really specific type. It's a human, probably 22, 23, with the dirty blonde hair to here, a little too thin, even still getting used to his limbs, the ears that stick out just a little bit too far, brown eyes, just not perfect skin,
Teen shaped.
like
Teen-sized.
somebody who might be going to a trade school for IT.
Yeah.
Like that vibe.
Wow, you are
Not-
really leaning into this Jira name. Continue.
Oh yeah. That's why.
I'd be like,
but
you
yeah,
look like you
just-
got scouted by DeFry.
Somebody who doesn't look dangerous at all.
Someone that's going
And
to tell you, I worked for Google.
Yeah, those of you who are thinking about it notice that there's a trend of people who work in the network with Daniel not being very noticeable as people, and you feel in a very different way this guy still applies. We're good?
Knowing
Do
it's
it have
Jira.
sound?
I don't know. They're
Just check
playing
it.
5,000 ads.
Well, here, I'm already, I'm logged in as admin, so.
Yeah. Excuse us for a second.
We're
We're just
good.
checking our sound.
We're good.
Okay.
It's there.
So do you open the door all the way?
Once
He
I've-
waits. He's not trying to bust in. Huh?
Yeah, I'll open the door and I'll do the same thing where like I think it's like part of the protocol is like kind of like yanking someone in.
So that they're not
Close the door
ready.
immediately.
Yeah,
He.
because I want to catch them off guard and then
Roll.
expose them to the non-magical room in case they're like a limb of the Obelix.
Roll something.
Should be
You'd
out.
be paying more attention. Roll a strength check.
I'm pretty sure that's just an 11. Let me double check. An 11.
He wins with a 13.
Your
He's
puny
not.
arms.
He doesn't resist being pulled into the like room or whatever, but he doesn't lose his balance entirely. Oh, he has disadvantage, and that's much better. So yeah. So he walks in, and the second he crosses the threshold, you recognize a very what you've all experienced, and in some surprise, you observe that this is not a human boy, it is a kobold on stilts. And he looks down after registering a change in your faces and he goes, "Fuck. Well, yes, Jira."
Was so
Still
like
Jira.
looked like a human, but upon crossing revealed
That
a
is
kobold.
kobold on stilts.
Oh,
Who sent you?
Is it Maiden sent me? I was in disguise? Yes. Do any of you what to expect a specific type of Jira?
Actually, I had no idea what you would look like.
It's like, yes, we are spies. We change all the time. I did not know this would happen, but I was told I should trust you, so I'm fine that it did, I suppose. And you don't know if he's totally fine, but you don't think he's lying.
Okay.
Oh,
We were only supposed to summon, so.
And he's like, I guess I don't need this. And he just kind of like sits on the kind of counter that runs alongside and like starts unattaching his. He's like, you are limited with disguises spells, with height, so ran out of short species and anyway, it does not matter. Hi.
hi.
Azor just kind of backs away because she's not exactly sure why this person's here.
And he said, I was told to be limited in what I shared until I actually lay eyes upon His Majesty. And the king comes out.
Yeah.
So much for that decision.
And he walks up to him and he, with his hands behind his back, in that aggressive, like, I'm not going to touch this person posturing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he says something low to the king. We've established privacy in this room, so I'm not going to make him roll or make you roll. You don't hear it. And the king says something back to him, and he nods, and then he actually steps all the way back to kind of include all of you in a circle again. And he goes, I guess I probably could have thought that was the king from the illusion breaker, but just in case, I'm good. Hello. My name is Jira. I am a spy. My name is Jira right now. I work with Daniel. I have heard you are of the Drarud clan. I've never had the honor, but heard your father is quite high up, and I work with Daniel, and I am part of the organization that just tries to keep the peace in Lacros. I work on this side of the border to just keep an eye on any terrorist activities and that kind of thing. And I'm not high up in the organization. I'm a messenger. I'm trusted, but will be limited in my knowledge. And he looks at the king and he said, you guys, what do you know about the events of, well, this morning? And you realize that the timing, like, is pretty much real
one for
time.
one? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Real time that you heard about it. You don't know. You woke up as the sun was rising, so you guess it couldn't be the exact time because it was light in your dream. But
Yeah.
then again,
Who
yeah,
knows with
but
these things?
but he's like, I don't know what you know about the events of this morning.
I have a pretty good visual of it.
Sure. Okay. Okay, so
And I did share. He is actually like looking down. He's like, I shared it with everyone.
you shared
What I saw. What happened.
what you saw? What you saw?
You should probably tell.
Oh
him
yeah.
What you saw.
That's on me. That's on Cora. I have visions, and I saw the scene, as it were.
Perhaps you would like to give us the details that you are aware of.
He glances at the king. I don't think you guys need rolls. He's hesitant. He wants to make sure he's not about to accidentally break news to the king. That the thing is, yeah.
I did not give them details on bodies.
And he seems reassured by that, and he looks at the king and he goes, the bodies did not pass the tests. The second, I think, and he takes out a tiny notepad and flips through it, and he's like, I do not know what this means, but they did not pass the second test.
Ezra nods her head and looks around at everybody as if to say, I was right.
Rana's just very relieved.
And so is the king. And
I don't
you
know
guys
what
are-
that means, but Azra looking smug makes Ronnie feel like things went to plan because he agreed with her.
Not Christian's being smug. Azra is just like looking for affirmation that people acknowledge that she guessed correctly.
What is this test?
Ronnie doesn't know what that means, but Azra
Neither
being
does Al. He
excited
wants
about
to know.
having her answers confirmed was like, okay, cool, so we were right.
The king looks immediately relieved. Does Alabroth ask that out loud? He asked that out loud.
Yes. do-
Okay. And he kind of, like, almost subconsciously leans into Brana for a minute, who's sitting beside him, I would assume, because you guys were in the
Yeah,
area, with, like, this shared relief of, like, and he takes a minute, and everybody tends to give him a minute because he's the king, and he goes, this is a world with illusions, and so sometimes he's like, when it comes to it, yes, there are verifications in dire times that we can use to ensure that we're speaking with whom we think we are speaking with. He said we don't publicize those details for obvious reasons. He's like, and the closer you are to someone, the more of them you might have, and the higher up they are. He's like, I'm sorry, I cannot share details of what they are, but there is a verification. And Jura goes, I don't know the details. I was told that to tell you. And he's like, and there are multiple tests for royalty and certain nobility sometimes. He's like, whether or not you know it, your father probably has at least one physical marking that is not publicized. And your father tended to try not to talk about work a lot, both because it was incredibly depressing for a long time, and then it was just really hard. He doesn't talk much at all, but it's not shocking to hear that he had a secret or two. And the king said, as far as I know, these have not ever failed us. You would have to know about them to replicate them. And Astrophus glances at you and he's like, we think. Because the Oblex, you don't know. You don't know with Oblex. But it's like at the very least, generally. And Jira goes, so yes, your sons were not found. Said, there is... I do not have many details, and that is intentional, very much by design. We try and keep information compartmentalized, but there is reason to be hopeful. That they're alive, that is more... that is not my purview. What I can tell you is you should not be in stresses. At all. Right now, at least not for long. Your sons, we believe they are alive. They may not be for long if they think they can return home, or if tensions get elevated, or it's just very touchy situation.
So where do we go?
Jira's like, we are trying our best to eliminate whoever is... We think there are multiple infiltrators, probably, and we have not been able to determine if they come from deposed nobility and movement in there. They lost all their access to free exploitation resources, and we think some may be motivated by that. There is also a chaotic element that I believe you guys may have encountered. We have no idea what he's doing. And that's not my side, they may know more than I do. But within the city, I was told to ask you, and he looks at the king, to stay somewhere on this side of the border that no one knows you for hopefully only a few days, but not in the city. Said, because of the nature of the infiltration, all the spots you would normally go cannot be relied on at this moment. And he looks at the rest of you and he's like, I assume you got into this room because you are confidants. I do not ask for details right now, so I am just here to do a job.
That's all you have to say?
Excuse me?
That's all the information.
He looks at his notepad and he's like, that's all I have to deliver. I am
Okay.
involved.
Oh, I thought you said you were compartmentalizing.
To some extent.
Oh, I don't know what your protocols are for...
And here's the contact. So,
should we discuss where we should go
Yes,
with you
but-
here?
exclusively, maybe not where you go, but how we get in touch and stuff.
Okay.
Something of that nature. I'm here to be the intermediary. And he's like, it's funny is that he kind of looks around the room. He's not crazy proficient in all magic, and he doesn't know what's going on. He's like, I was going to drop this disguise anyway, because I may not only appear in those two forms, but we can get into responses and codes and stuff like that later. He's like, and he looks at you and he's like, that is a good point, though. I will return in 1 hour. And he looks at the king, Astrophus, and kind of all of you to get some sort of like,
Yeah.
Is anyone else here capable of the spell sending?
Yes, I am.
Very well.
was going to bring that up.
We would be able to contact you if we need to.
He said, yes, I don't know Cindy.
You do not need to. If we need to contact you. Now, if you need to contact us, that is...
He said, I will most likely be the one to tell you it is safe to come back. So, but I do not wish to know where you're going. That is why I'm leaving. I was sick about that.
Yes.
He's like, have you heard of any... There are stones sometimes we use for these things. Have you heard of them?
Would the school have any?
He says, I can procure them. I'm just, are you familiar with them?
We are aware.
Does it have to be... Wait. Does it... If you had one and we had one, would they have to be the same? Like, with you could... So the message... Okay. So there's a stone and there's another stone. And you can send messages. And then you have a third stone that's not the stone or the other stone. So it's the third stone. If you could send a message to the first with the third, but it's not connected.
Can one of you, other than her, be the other one with the other stone, please?
I believe what she's trying to communicate is, and I kind of, we are in possession of one stone already. But
I'll take the other stone.
They are paired, specifically
Yes.
only to
different
each
carriers,
other.
yes.
To anyone who's paying attention,
Don't
the
think
look on
anyone
his
else could have
face
known that.
is very obvious. I hope this woman is never a spy. This is unbearable. And-
I'll take the other one.
And he's like, I don't have them with me, but I didn't even, honestly, he's like, wow, we go with the flow. This morning has been a lot. This is very fast, but I can procure a set and brings it back.
25 words, that's not very many.
I was
You're
trying to, there was, in
stuttering.
the back of my brain was like, how is stuttering factor? Like,
You just get a whole message
I'll
of,
take you home and get the
well, you see,
Well,
hold on.
and you're out of words.
he's like, okay, well, I will be back. He goes, he puts his stilts back on, and he's like, as soon as I come, I will come back again. We call them faces. This is my face for Strassus right now, so I will be in this face again. And he goes, okay, 1 hour. He said, he kind of looks around and he's like, this campus has a weird vibe. And he just walks out.
You're a spy. You don't know about this.
They've been very quiet about it.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Intentional.
Okay.
Jokingly, I kind of just, Your Majesty, would you consider a haircut and a shave?
He says, he goes, well, my hair looked different when I got here. And you recognize that he already has made some changes to his appearance. He's like, dwarf who was shaven would be more significant.
I'm not saying completely. No need to, but perhaps a bit of maybe something more.
A
Sure.
goatee, perhaps.
Okay, if we can't stay here and we can't go back,
You cannot go home, but you cannot stay here.
And
closing time.
the
Where are we
king's
going?
like, he goes, normally we have protocols, although it makes sense that they are not available to me at this time.
We can't go anywhere that any of us... Who lives in this country?
The king raises his hand.
Do I live in this country?
What if we?
Yeah, you don't live far from here.
You do. It is borderline, like
Yeah.
kind of because it's the islands. You do, but you're from this city.
Yeah, I live very far, though.
I don't live that far from here. We could take him there. It's a very small village in the middle of nowhere, essentially.
And the king goes, "What is the name of it?" Trito.
Trido.
And the king's like, not familiar with it, and that in and of itself is significant. I
Well,
know
most-
most of the cities. The larger, I'm saying it must be quite small.
We're mostly known for some exports, but not really that many. Mostly fabrics, but not anything significant.
He has pretty decent passive perception. He clocks your clothes for the first time as being like higher quality and understands the reasoning behind it and is like, oh, try it out. Do you bust out your map, do you think, or does it occur to you? Because you are carrying a map.
I am carrying a
It'd be
map.
good if they're known for exports. There wouldn't be a lot of trade flowing in and out. It'd be mostly one way. So
We would
You know, they ship stuff mostly to Strasses to go through the port if it's going
Yeah.
external.
And always return to
whenever we're getting rid of goods, it would be like to another city for other people to take
Yes.
care of.
What about returning to where this all started? Perhaps Soraya could be able to hide us.
I would rather go home. It's a bit of a personal reason, admittedly.
What?
I think
Your
my-
other visions?
I don't know if right now is the time to talk about it, but I do have reason to believe something may have happened, and I need to see that my family is alright.
Well, then we go there.
The
Didn't
king
think
is
that
like,
that would be important to tell to your compatriots as well.
Again, it's a very personal thing, and I've been trying to get a letter to my family to make sure they're alright. But with this changeling, what could I do? Also, we had to find the king. That took precedent over anything that could have happened.
Rolled a
Are you
clock-
raising your hand at the king?
No,
Or
no.
is Mia raising her hand?
Mia's
Okay,
raising
go
her
on.
hand at Cat. What should I roll to clock Octavia's rancid vibes?
It's lower DC than it was inside. With advantage because you know her pretty well.
Just absolutely rancid.
Rancid's the perfect word.
15. I'm gonna come sit next to Octavia wherever she's sitting.
Remove our head from our cloaca. You'll have those, right?
Gross. No.
Nasty. Absolutely not.
And then I'll knock my knee against yours and not really say anything, but if you look at me, I will look at you and then look back.
subtle.
Astratus goes, clears his throat, and he says, you probably want somewhere where there are not a lot of magical adepts, because disguises would be helpful, and,
I-
whatever.
I was a rarity in my town to have anything magical.
You have an internal, yes, magic?
I
And he looks at Ronnie and
He
he's
is quite
kinda like,
special.
If you have received an ill omen of your home, though, do we want to be bringing the king to where there may be danger?
Might.
Avoiding danger.
I slipped into.
Yeah.
If the vision's not true, it should be safe.
what was
right?
the message, and this is the king, what was the message or the, what do you, you said, he doesn't know anything about your
Yeah.
visions, and that just occurred to me. He's like, do you have dreams of things that are happening often?
Alright. So, from birth, essentially, I've had visions given to me by some unknown deity. A good one. This is a good aligned deity, I can tell that.
Do you remember visions that you had at birth?
No, but
Okay.
Do
Pretty-
you?
No, I don't have visions though.
pretty sure I did. They've never really been all that clear. They have honestly been quite unhelpful 90% of the time. But after I started traveling, after I left home, they started to become more clear, so maybe I just needed to travel for that to happen. So I haven't given these visions many hard thoughts. And by the time we got to your town, your home, I'd kind of accepted that maybe the vision I had was just a product of feeling uncomfortable and scared with what had happened with the changeling, because it was quite recent with that at the time. But after the vision that I just had, I'm very unsettled. My family is all I have. All I have is my mom, my dad, and my sister.
I'm so sorry. I didn't.
Passive aggressive note taking.
I'm not trying to.
These are apparently not family to me.
Yeah.
Anyway, go on. Sorry.
So that's all I have. I don't have grandparents, I don't have aunts and uncles, that's all I have. And I just need to see that they're all right.
I have no qualms about helping you, my friend.
And
Also, it's good for us to keep moving.
and if that village is not a safe place for you, Your Majesty, there are many others in that area that we could go to, that are farming villages that just keep to themselves.
And he inquires about the general area, and you give him that info.
Yeah.
It is a little bit southwest of where you guys are. It would probably take, although you've never traveled directly, you would assume it would take a day or two to get there.
Oh, sweet.
Well, probably 2 or 3 days, somewhere in between, depending on how hard you're pushing.
Dang it, I hate when the DM says.
And it's also very coastal and calm. I want you to roll
Coastal
like an
is
insight,
favorite
perception,
terrain
or
for me, so we
history
would
to
move.
see if you've made an observation about your own visions.
In great me fashion.
Just you buckle up. It's gonna be a doozy.
Does anybody
You-
just-
what were you saying? Perception,
Insight
history?
or history.
Right, 12.
As you're sitting there thinking about it, like, you don't know, your visions have changed some since you've left home, and they've been urgent and more traumatic and all of that. But you find yourself wondering if now that you feel like you're trying to communicate and maybe even more receptive to what you're being told, you do feel like a sense of relief at even the idea of visiting familiar places and just trying to process this almost separately
Yeah.
from all the stuff around.
What do we know of the lord of this area?
Of who are you asking? And
I guess King and Orbron.
the king's like, we don't have a lot. They don't have like systems. If it's textiles, there is somebody who handles more of our trade deal and stuff. But a lot of these villages operate nearly independently.
No one protects their borders?
Oh, probably not. They would come here.
Yeah.
They would come. I mean, of course, we have guards that roam the land
Can you
to
send me
some
the
extent.
picture?
And you know, there's not a lot to steal from there. Like, it's
Yeah.
just. And it would be it doesn't have any ports coming off it to accommodate ships, so it's kind of coastal. It would be inconvenient to attack it from anywhere but one side because of the nature of the beaches, and there's some caves and stuff in that area. And it's also the furthest thing from any border like Rextera and all that. So
Okay.
do with that what you will.
You can send it to me.
But yeah, he doesn't say that. You know that.
Yeah. Rana will relay that information to you.
It is a little weird to Azra, maybe, but Azra hasn't spent. It sounds similar to Copper Trails, like where you were fishing,
Mm.
and for the longest time you grew up as you're a city girl, and and you're like, oh, people could attack this, and then you look around, and you're like, but why? Like, there's nobody rich in town. There's nothing. But the king's like that. I've never had fewer resources, like, for places to go and things to do, and he's like, and I am carried along by the just what is happening. And he looks at Astrophus and he's like, there's no figurehead of leadership at all, like with the state of the council. We're trying to put together a council and stuff. I'm concerned about the idea of leaving an empty throne, metaphorically, and no idea. And Astrophus says, I mean, Vea is still at least present, and you know at least one council member is here. And you can roll another insight check.
Choose wisely.
Actually, yeah, you can roll an insight check. You can roll one because we're going to give you, like, political, basically, some.
12.
One more time.
What is this thirst trap stuff? I have never
17.
looked inside your dice tray and I regret it now.
It's my lucky charm.
17.
If you look very closely, it's Lucky Charm. Just gotta get your face right in it.
Yeah, you got to put your face just directly
Clearly, I never
into
have.
his man chest.
It's most legible
I'm so
that way.
down. When will he be here? When he says, when Astrafa says that about Vayer, the king has kind of a visible response, and of just like, that's not a great idea. And you find yourself, like, kind of wondering, like, oh, we're the good guys. We came in to save everyone. I don't know to what extent Octavia thinks that.
Extremely.
But there's a
Yeah.
visible reaction. And he's like, and Astraphus clocks it. What did you roll?
Oh, it was a 5er.
You're like, oh, that's nice. Seems like that's not a problem. Astraphus clocks it enough to glance at you, glance at the king, and say, he said hopefully a few days. So, the king's like,
You don't think that's a good idea for Vea? Vea to help?
Vayer to, it's not, yeah, Vayer to be in charge of Lacros. Just in charge of Lacros.
Oh, a little bit.
It's giving away the whole game, don't you think? Never mind. It's like, yeah, she doesn't catch that. You're gonna be able to roll insight on that because you have an idea of tensions because you came from Rextera.
Oh boy. Let's see. That is a 19 plus 8.
Hey.
You are really amused at the innocence of Octavia's question. Like, we're not imperialists, we're saviors. like, because you've
We're
seen
here to
some
help.
of that attitude from Lacros to Rextera, and then again from Vayer to Lacros. And you know it's probably very good that the king saw what he saw, which is total confusion on her face at the idea that they would seek that power.
8 dangerous words. We're from Vader, and we're here to help.
Yeah, exactly. And you find yourself inwardly amused at the fact that your friend was just like, we're helping, I'm here to help. That's what all of us are just trying to help.
I'd love to explain that to her right now, but she's like, she owed at me, so. I
Do
don't
it.
want to dragon explain to her right now.
Dragons.
Dragonborn something. No, that's incredible.
Immaculate.
But yeah, he kind of dismisses
So
that.
tasty.
And Astraphus
It would only
hides
be
a
dragon
smile.
explaining if she knew better.
I'll say it out loud, but not directed at anyone in the room.
What do you say?
Just that.
Yeah, I'm gonna need you to say it in character.
Oh no! I'm trying to choose my words wisely here.
You clock it, and you'll be able to interject whenever you want. Astraphus is just amused. Azra's thinking about
Puppies.
getting the king or becoming
No,
his new best
no,
friend or something.
I'm
God
gonna
knows.
she's thinking
reserve
of
that and just kind of, but in lieu of all of what we have put together here, should we head out? People know that we are here.
We should head out when
Yes. He comes back. We're going to try the king. We're gonna go there. We can stay there. There's no hotel in the town.
Yeah.
Your parents did pretty well.
we have a 2-story house.
He's
Because-
like,
Do you know how that works?
Do
Do you know how that works? They have a
Does
two-story
Ronnie know how a
house.
2-story house works?
Yes.
Are they gonna work from home? Do they make textiles at home?
Yeah.
In the town nearest the preserve, there is a fancy house.
Okay.
So he has seen a fancy
It's
house.
a big house.
It's
You
still
didn't
square.
care for it.
It's still square, but it is
Very,
fancy.
very fine house.
For Ronnie's comfort, his house is a rectangle. There is no like rounded corners on the outside.
It's not even a fake battlement. Nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah, it's not a McMansion. It's
Yeah.
There is not an inn within the town. However,
don't look at me.
we do have space at home,
Okay.
and I'm sure my parents
Stop.
would be more than happy to welcome company, because they would see that I actually made friends.
He's kind of like, oh, pretty good. He's like, plus it would help. You had to be the center of attention all the time. Sounds nice. Coastal, temperate, winter, you know.
It's very nice. The weather's very nice. The atmosphere is very relaxing.
Under normal circumstances, I'd love to visit the coast.
Yeah.
So, not normal circumstances.
He said there
Under-
was reason to
Look at that
believe
bitch-eating
that
chicken.
it could affect my son's safety. I know as the monarch, this cannot be my number one priority forever. But in this moment, I've been gone a long time. So I don't think there's incredible urgency to me returning in this moment. I think it is arrogance that makes me wish to do so. And all of you whoever finds it kind of nodding along, and he raises an eyebrow and you realize that you nodded to the fact that he said he was arrogant. But he's just mostly amused.
Yeah.
Journey of self-discovery, then. Does Octavia look at me when I make that comment?
Rancid vibes.
Okay, this time when Octavia looks like, we're like... like the best dragonborn smile I can muster. Which probably doesn't look great with all of his teeth, but you know, like...
Such a loud smile.
Ronnie will give you a real smile and then bump your leg again.
The king kind of looks at all of you and he's like, are you going to be able to keep that in check? He rolled a nat 17 on picking up on some of this. He's...
Straight. Yes, sir.
I'm not talking about our stuff. Like, you clearly... I don't know what happened. Whatever. He attacked you. Anyway. He looks at you and he's like, there is some merit to the idea that someone who could help scan thoughts could be of value on this. And you think it's a little significant that he didn't ask Astrophus for permission or anything, that he's just like, I'm
I'm the
fucking
king.
Dang.
And he's like, would you accompany us? At least for a time?
She'll look to Astrophus. I don't know. Could I be spared at this moment?
I'll do better to keep you alive this time.
I'm sure you will.
Astrophus goes...
I said that with like all seriousness. Like,
Yeah, that's true.
Astrophus goes, there may be some clarity that you find in what we've been researching with a hopefully not very long time of whatever. I don't have a lot of resources we haven't dug into at this moment. We are hoping to rely on all of you for the imminent fights in the future, and Azra can share details about that. Yes, it's not the time. And he glances back at Azra and he's like, you having this kind of adept nature is good, but also you don't have a lot of connections here. Most people won't think to inquire where you are, and on its own that is also beneficial. You realize you have remarkably few connections in Strassus, considering you've been here a minute.
Yeah.
And he's like, I have a few further reading materials that can go along with you. They are not confidential. That I would ask you to maybe read and think about in regards to our research. But I feel stalled, and you see just a little bit of that kind of defeat, like from when you first got here in this office, kind of come back. That like, keep looking for answers, keep whatever. And he's like, I don't know whether to call powerful wizards And the kid goes, you guys can hopefully just a few days. And he looks at Astrophus. Now there's kind of that permission aspect. And Astrophus goes, he's like, I will be honest, my funds are low for the day rate. The king goes, he's like, we have not been really specific on terms, but obviously, yes. I assumed that was my bad. I assumed you knew that since you'd already gotten one surprise sum from me that, like, yes, we do, in fact, take care of mercenaries and individual groups.
Oh, we gonna
monetarily,
yes.
to some extent. He's like, you won't get rich off an assignment for a few days, but yes, we'll compensate you for your time and risk.
Very well.
Cool.
And Astrophus goes, he's like, I have the connections within the city to inquire of you if we are able to predict the fight. He's like, but frankly, I think the Oblex may look for you because you match that intellect, and we have some reason to believe there is activity. He's like, I have actually thought about staying at my home myself, but I don't know yet. So maybe a few days with a little distance would help mitigate that risk. You guys have been investigating some about how passively the Oblex can learn new information, because it relates to how careful you need to be, and the fear is less that it will kill you and more that you won't be able to surprise it. You won't be able to gain an advantage on it or anything if it's able to passively pick up information. And you're pretty familiar with detect thoughts. There hasn't been a time where this isn't top of mind for you. And so that's part of the concern with the office, with the staying on campus. And he's like, and Astrophus goes, obviously your help is useful, but this does seem urgent. And roll an insight check on Astrophus. And do you guys think you're paying attention to their one-off, or are you more focused on the mission and the king? Nothing. You guys can roll an insight on Ezra.
Not a 3, a 12.
That's not good enough. Please.
Probably not. This is 3. This is digits.
This is
18.
18.
This is weird.
20,
German.
not natural.
Ooh.
Insight, you said?
Yeah.
12.
This is pod race.
Yo, no shit.
25.
Sorry, I'm like saying towards you. There's
No,
nowhere
you're
to put
fine.
my- There's nowhere to put my mouth.
Azra
It's very awkward.
is looking for, I think, she senses the tiniest bit of hesitation. And with the 12, she doesn't know if it's based on Azra being with the king or away from Astrophus in Astrophus's mannerisms. Like, is he hesitating because he needs her? Is he hesitating because of their history? And you also clock that, more or less. You're like, there's a slight hesitation, but you also know this to be an extremely cautious man, and you don't know why it exists. But it is also a tacit endorsement that he's not trying to prevent it in any way. And you know, on some level, he believes that you're not just trying to run rampant and ruin the world. I don't know if she knew that before, but she knows that now. And so the king's like, so he returns with the sending stones. What will he need to
Jiro.
know? Huh?
Is it Jiro returns?
When Jiro returns.
Yes,
Oh,
when Jiro
I thought you
returns.
were narrating.
Okay, what's the plan? Do we have any? I guess we'll need provisions. What? And are you? Seem to be a question.
No.
No, what? Will you accompany us or will you stay here?
Could be fun.
Please.
We'll go.
What do you think the tensions are in Azra in this moment? Like, what is she?
Azra doesn't know what's the higher priority right now. Like, do they need her to go to a town where they're just bunkering down with the king?
It does sound remarkably dull in some ways.
And yeah, given, I think Azra would feel more useful here at the school. But again, we're also, we broke some ground recently. We're waiting to hear back about those magic items that we're trying to get the Iron Maiden craft. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But she also knows that their plan is going to need to involve them, and they're not sticking around, so there's not that much of a point to her sticking around either, I suppose.
Roll an intelligence check for me.
How intelligent
Ha ha! Azra Big Dumb.
Azra Big Dumb. She doesn't figure something out. I'm gonna ask this figure out.
I'll go. Okay. Okay, George.
I don't think the king rolled enough. The king, he goes, very well. He's like, it will be good to have someone who, I mean, all of us hopefully can see through illusions, but none of the rest of us can read thoughts. And you're like, that does make some sense. That, like, and you realize that that was the nature. It wasn't maybe it wasn't why he inquired, but the things that you told him and kind of like boasting some about yourself, but not over the top, made him realize that if he could have read thoughts, maybe things wouldn't have gone terribly awry. Because, he was misled by somebody whose face he trusted.
Yeah.
You're like, okay. And
You would ensure we don't cheat you out of any loot. Not that I would do that.
Interesting you would bring that up. It makes it sound like you've already done such a thing.
I don't know. You haven't been with us.
My I'm
Am
not
I
a serial killer
capable
shirt.
of doing such a thing,
Huh?
my friend?
My I'm not a serial killer shirt is bringing up more
Not you,
questions that I feel
perhaps.
like were answered
Oh.
from my shirt.
The world is very shady. Yes. I said that jokingly.
did you say it in character?
Yes,
It seems
I'm
like it.
The
messing. I'm
king's
messing
like,
with
we're gonna
Osler.
cease all the jokes about that for the time being.
I didn't hear what you said.
No, I was joking.
I was just
I told Azra there'd be less chance of us cheating you out of some loot.
But after
And
there's
then-
something else, right?
And
Yeah,
she called my bluff down. You wouldn't do that. Yes, but
The king looks at you, and he looks
The rogue
at
is very shifty.
Astrophus, and he says, this academy is a very high priority. My situation is an emergency, but I would not be gone longer than maybe 10 days anyway, at most. He's like, it's not a command, I am asking, but will you take action in the next 10 days, do you think, on this thing?
Not without them. And if they go with you, then it's going to have to wait until they return anyway.
I swear to all of you, this will be what we do next. He's like, I'm not going to fight, though. You don't want me. You've seen it. And it's one of the only jokes he's ever made.
you want that.
Just full Galir
Not
now.
to have like slight flashbacks.
Yeah.
to the Ool's fight.
He goes, he's like, he's like, there are very few favors I would not ask for my sons, but even I know that there's a limited amount of attention that can be paid to them. We set out this evening. You guys wait, anything else significant before Jira comes back? Jira?
Ezra steps into the sewers and just casts a bunch of fireballs and goes back in.
Boy, that's smart.
Are we
You
gonna
did
be
this
able
last
to? Are we
time.
gonna be able to go to a bathhouse?
You
Poor
could
Ronnie.
set Ronnie up incredibly near home because washing fabrics
Yeah.
means big tubs, lots of access to clean and hot water.
You will enjoy this. At my home, we have these big tubs that we use to make sure that the fabrics are clean before we send them out to Strasses. We could let you just kind of bathe in one. You could lay down flat in the bottom of the basin, and you wouldn't touch either of the sides or any of the sides.
You've never had a bathtub that big. That wasn't a lake.
That's a big bathtub.
Are there any larger ones?
He's like, for the bigger bowls, I think we do have one that's a little bigger.
You have one for like wool, like heavy wool, or for like
Yeah,
covers. For
It would have been a
garments
while
and
since
stuff.
Al had been able to like partake in a large bath.
Yep.
Astrophus glances at you and he says, "Do you have prestidigitation?"
I have not often had the need of it, so no.
That's okay.
Octavia wouldn't know that. She would know what
It's a
prestidigitation.
cantrip. She might.
Okay, I have
And it's a
something.
cantrip that elves can have. So yeah, she might.
I have something similar.
Maybe that can help you. I also want a bath, but that was the king. Yes. Okay. Yes, and the king is kind of imbued with some purpose. When Jared comes back, he has several packs. He's got provisions for all of you,
Fantastic.
and he has bought horses for you guys.
Ooh.
Including a Clydesdale, a massive Clydesdale.
The Ganon horse.
Are you?
Yes.
I don't want the horse to like see me and run away.
Yeah, this got
No.
fine.
I know.
Very specifically.
If it was all to scale, the
Octavius
king would have a
with
Shetland
horses
pony, but like
cannon.
that wouldn't work.
Oh, wow.
It doesn't
That whole
actually help you
conversation.
be faster
Yeah.
much, at least not significantly, but it does help you feel more rested as you go. He also has something very similar to your mask for the king. And he's like, I assume the rest of you have you are sellswords, you have your own provisions, but at the very least, and I wouldn't. Yes, you would make a very good spy.
Look at that bitch eating chicken.
Don't even need to roll inside.
As we're sort of like, I don't know. At the idea of Azra being a sellsword, she like almost non-verbally like disassociates from the rest of the group.
You're
Like
not the dimmer.
steps her turns a little bit just so that it doesn't feel like she's being associated as a sellsword.
Natural 20. He goes, and I could not tell, so you guys have been adventuring, many adventure, very special. He has great insight. He doesn't have great charisma. And he's like, at the very least, independent contract. Anyway, I should go.
I want to take a minute to just appreciate that Octavia continuing to give off Rancid vibes with the look. Ronnie giving the exact same look, but giving off the vibes of.
No, that was
Or were
okay,
you,
snobby.
okay, then you were also giving off your own Rancid vibes. It's just the Rancid vibe corner over here. And also, I just like saying Rancid vibes.
The king's like, he takes the mask and he looks at it for a minute and he's like, should I be taller? Shorter? Taller, probably, right? He puts it on. He's like, it doesn't do anything in this room. He takes it off. And yeah, anything else before you guys take off? He does pay you for your time so far, Astrophus, and he goes, I just can't keep running. You know how I am. Here's what you've earned so far. He's like, this is not. I don't know. I need to check.
Okay.
He's like, this isn't a dismissal. With his 10 days sounds good. 10 days at the longest.
Of course, I will return. Yes.
Roll an insight check.
Ooh, 19.
He is personally a little relieved. He feels a personal attachment. It's not just that he needs your help.
Oh.
Anything else before you guys take off? So you guys head out. It is the evening. On your way out of the city, the king's going to tell you that he likes to travel more at night a little bit in this particular case, and you know that it probably won't be a very clean number of days, so you might as well set out at night.
Yeah.
When I stepped out of the room, did I feel any change?
You guys all feel your stuff come back. Ronnie, you just stepped into air conditioning again.
Fireball! The Goku hair returns.
You'd heard some of them talking about something missing, and you hadn't been able to clock entirely what it was about yourself. You feel like you understand that feeling a little better now. Do you think she starts to think of herself as a magic user, or no? Fair. You hear your static kind of come back, but it's almost like there are question marks to it. Yeah. Like a hesitation. And you don't know why. You don't know if it's based on did I overstep there? Or why didn't you do something different? Or you don't know what the basis is. But it's different vibe. And to whatever extent Bron is able to pick up, at least Bronna notices there's some difference.
Yeah.
Jason, what were you asking about what you feel come back?
I wanted to know, did anything feel strange after I left the room?
Nope.
I kind of touch the mace while it's on my shoulder, just kind of.
You feel a sense of relief when you touch it.
Okay. Or existential dread. That's great.
No, you
But
feel comforted.
While we're out, though, I am going to take out a bit of the copper wire, and I'm going to send a message to my father. And that's a spell, actually. So.
Okay. You don't use copper wire for that one. I don't think. I think
Copper
message
wire's
uses that one.
Yeah.
It says,
Jira gave the.
I took the sending
Okay.
stone.
yeah, short piece of copper wire.
Oh wow. Sending, not message.
Sending, yeah.
Okay. Dope. Sorry, my bad. Go on.
Wild.
You take copper wire out. What do you say to your father?
What is the situation in the city?
Is that it? It can
King
be.
is safe.
There's a long pause, as there is literally every time you ask your father any
Probably
question
doesn't
at all. And
Did we take a rest while we were there? I mean,
you took short rest.
cool.
He goes, unknown situation. Unrest increasing. A lot of security incidents. And that's it. It feels like he was going to say something, but he just, that's it.
So things are kind of falling apart. Okay.
Which makes sense. Yeah. And you guys head out, and I think we are going to close there today. Any other footnotes?
Yeah, when Azra, when we're stepping out, back into the sewers, right? I think there's a moment where Azra catches herself staring at her reflection in the water with the glowing symbol back.
It's been it feels like the weight of everything comes back in both the best and the worst ways when Azra could cast spells again. It's been the longest time since she started learning magic that she's had that inability. And it's like, yes, I can do it. And now I have to deal with everything, about everything. And do you think she feels at peace with her proximity to power? She's still super concerned about the Oblex. Like, it's a ticking time bomb, and it's hard to know when it will go off.
Yeah, I don't think she's thinking with the Oblex right now. Like, she sees that again, and I think there's a flash of cold sweat.
The king doesn't remark on it.
Would the king know what it... Actually, ooh. Would the king actually know what it is?
What do you think?
He could be informed.
I'm gonna see. The king has... Nope.
Okay.
It's not a symbol he's never seen, but he does feel... You feel like he trusted Astrophus pretty well.
Mm.
And of course Astrophus would have to know what it was. So, like...
Yeah.
He seems to be furiously trying to distract himself from a lot right now. Like,
Makes sense.
he changes his appearance 9 times in the first hour. Like,
Some
takes
shoes
out
with
a little
lifts.
Any one of us would do that just because it's cool.
he's like,
Brana's back to his black and
he's like, the kobold. Did you know a stilts that you could... That's crazy. I know there's a limit. And he's like, he puts it on again. He's like, this is the tallest I can be. And he looks like himself, but after like limb stretching surgery. And he's just like, who knows? All of you are good at horses, yes? And we'll close right there. It's not going to be a whole thing. It was a fun note. Thank you for joining us. Please stay tuned for our schedule. We're going to try and give you more warning for our schedule, but it's a little all over the place, so we play when we can. Check out supercoolnerdshow.com. Vote, nerds vote, and that's all I've got. And as we always say around here,
Keep
on nerding.